What's going on, guys? Today I thought it would be good to kind of sit down and kind of talk to you guys, analyze a little bit of my sparring matches from this year, kind of go over with you some good things I did, some bad things I did, and maybe you guys can take some notes and also learn from some of my mistakes and maybe take away some good stuff that I did as well, use it as a good learning experience. So let's get the video started. Alright, so quick backstory to some of you who may be a little bit newer to following me here on YouTube or on social media in general. There was a really big time period recently within the 6 to 7 year time frame where I basically either wasn't training at all or I was training on my own, just kicking around in a basement by myself. I had no martial arts school, no coaches, no training partners at all for a good 6 to 7 year time period. Pretty big gap of basically not doing much at all. It was just really, my training was up and down. I went really long gaps with not training at all, got really out of shape, and then kind of started getting back in shape, got back out of shape again. Just, it was a mess for like 6 to 7 years. All of that changed the end of last year when I became an instructor at TheWongsWorkout Martial Arts here in Atlanta. That kind of opened the door to my training as to what it is now. And really, I would say my consistent training for like tournaments and sparring has only really been the last maybe like 8 months or so, has been a little bit more consistent. So I would say that only really started towards the beginning of this year is when I really started preparing for tournaments and trying to get back into actual shape when we moved to Atlanta this year. So basically there was a really big time period where I was not training at all, and I'm basically just trying to get back into the swing of tournaments, and that's what I did this year. I only did 2 tournaments this year, but it was still a really good learning experience for me. It was a good way for me to kind of get back into it, kind of start getting the feel for tournaments again, getting the feel for competition now, since it's been so long since I've actually done many competitions, especially with a coach and with actual proper good training as well. So it's definitely a really good learning experience for me, the 2 tournaments I did this year, and those are the 2 that I'm going to talk about, kind of go over with you some of the good things that happened, some of the bad things that happened, and let's go and get started with that now. The 2 tournaments I did this year was ATU Nationals in June, and then I did the Southeast Open Championships in November. First, let's talk about ATU Nationals. So this tournament was, I guess you could say, my first Nationals type tournament as a black belt, so I was definitely super nervous. I mean, the tournament was a good size, not as big as like AAU or USAT obviously, but still a good size tournament, especially for me kind of getting back into the swing of things. So nerves definitely took over a lot for this tournament. I was in shape, I was training really well for it, but I felt like I was out of shape as soon as I started fighting. Nerves just took over my body for ATU. So that was definitely a big thing that I had to overcome in that fight. I was gassed within like the first 30 seconds of the first round. I was just exhausted through the whole fight. Also, fighting at 10:30 p.m. at night didn't help either, but it was mainly my nerves is what really kind of affected my fighting as well. Some of the good things that I did, I was aggressive at ATU. I kept pressing forward. Some of the bad things I did was I was wasting a lot of shots. So it's kind of like, it's good and bad at the same time. I was kind of attacking a lot, but a lot of those shots, though some of them did land, I did land some headshots here and there, but a lot of those shots were just a lot of wasted energy. I was forcing a lot of stuff to the head. I was throwing a lot of stuff that just was not scoring, and then I was just making myself even more tired than I already was. So that was definitely a big con for me, and I just took that as a learning experience just to try to basically first try to be a little bit more relaxed in the ring, which is really just going to come with more experience in competitions and in sparring. And then the other thing is just try not to throw just a bunch of shots that aren't going to score, that aren't going to land. So definitely that's something that I took away from it, is just making sure that if I'm going to throw something, it needs to make good contact, it needs to score. Don't just throw stuff up, especially to the head, just throw my leg up there. That's just a lot of wasted energy that I don't need to be doing because I was already gassed just from my nerves alone. So that was definitely probably the biggest thing from ATU, is just to basically just get some more experience so I can just relax in the ring and then not throw a bunch of wasted shots. Now, going into the Southeast Open Championships that were in November, I definitely kept in mind that I didn't want to throw a lot of shots that are going to just be wasted and waste my energy. I also tried to be a little bit more relaxed, which definitely I was a lot more relaxed in this fight. A lot of it was probably just because I already fought this year. The other part of it was because it was a smaller tournament as well, so my nerves just weren't as bad. But overall, that still was a good experience for me, just kind of getting some more ring time in, and I know how it feels to be relaxed in the ring. So that was definitely a big plus for me. I was super relaxed in the ring. I think my countering was pretty decent. As far as my patachakis, I landed a few of those. I was just sliding out, hit, and then I was moving. I was good at kind of closing the distance and clinching a lot, kind of shutting down some of her attacks. Some of the things that I definitely took away from it that I need to work on is, one, I need to follow up. I need to do more combinations. I was throwing a lot of just single kicks, and then I would just throw a kick and I would kind of just step in and punch when I should have just thrown some more kicks and just been a little bit more aggressive, kind of like ATU. So it's kind of like ATU, I was a little bit too aggressive and I wasted too many shots. And then the Southeast Open Championships, I was a little bit too relaxed and too reserved. And I didn't throw enough shots. So I kind of need to basically combine the two styles of fighting that I did in those two tournaments together. And I think I'll have a good blend of fighting. So that's something I'm going to be working on for next year, kind of making sure I'm relaxed, being good at my counters still, being a little bit aggressive with as far as just when I attack, I need to do more combinations rather than just throwing one kick and stopping, or if I just throw one kick and miss and just stop right there. Definitely need to work on my combinations more. Need to start using a little bit more of my front leg. I'm not going to turn into a front leg fighter because I still like a little bit more of the old school fighting. It's just more fun. It's more exciting to watch. But I definitely need to at least utilize a little bit more of my front leg to kind of land some of my back leg stuff. So that's kind of what I took away from the tournament in November. I did good at being more relaxed, just kind of keeping my pace really well, but I need to work on a little bit more combination, just add a little bit more aggressiveness, but not to where I was at ATU where I was wasting too many shots. So that's kind of my takeaway from the two tournaments. I need to, when I attack, I need to be a little bit more on the offense, do a little bit more combinations, and then also just know when to kind of stay back and counter fight and reserve my energy and just be relaxed in the ring overall. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys can learn maybe a little bit from some of my good things that I've done, some of my mistakes that I've done. Hopefully you can take it a little bit as a learning experience for you as well. Also, let me know in the comments down below on what you think you need to work on in your sparring game to improve over the next year. I would like to hear what you guys think that you need to work on as well. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like us on Facebook, and follow me on Instagram. I'll see you guys later.